8:17, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll begin by reading our mission statement. Lewis County Economic Development, through its board, the IDA, and its brand, Naturally Lewis, are championing the growth of a community where people want to live, work, build business, and play. We foster forward thinking and relationship building, connecting people, businesses, partnerships, and resources to effectively and efficiently grow our county. First on the agenda, we have privilege of the floor. Is there any comments now, or we'll be getting to the items for approval with the solar process later? All right, hearing nothing, we'll move on. The minutes were sent out by Jenna last week. Did everyone get a chance to review the June 2nd meeting minutes? Any questions? Do we have a motion to approve? Second, Tom. Motion by Herb, second by Tom. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Do we need a second one for the annual meeting? Do we just do that next year?
No, we need approval for both.
All right, so now, well, the June 2nd annual meeting minutes, questions on those? Motion to approve. Mackenzie, second. Herb, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Financials were shared. Cheyenne.
Yeah. The finance committee met this month, so they also had a chance to review these. So we'll keep it pretty brief. But there are some things I want to point out on the profit and loss. Under interest income, you see a negative. That was with the sale of the hand-in-hand, or the repayment of the hand-in-hand mortgage that we held. There was a credit based on their early payment of that. So they got credited back some interest that they had already paid. Pilot payments passed through line, Otis Pilot and Flat Rock Wind Pilot came through on that line. And so that brought us out to a wash on pilot payments pass throughs, which is where we're intended to be. Intended to take it in, pay it back out. We did have some event income on the other income line. That's the shift back to rural event we had in June, as well as some income on the revenue fee line, which is the Tug Hill Roasters pilot fee. We have not executed that pilot yet, so that's still, it shows here because it's an accrual basis, it's been invoiced, but we have not executed that yet. And I should note, these are May financials. May's our month end, so these are kind of tentative before the auditor takes a stab at them. And there's always a couple of journal entries that get posted in May. Just going down on the bad debt loan forgiveness line, you see a negative, and that's just, we are able to adjust what we allot for loan risk. We're able to adjust it down this year because most of our loans have either been paid off or are in pretty good standing. Any questions on financials or on the profit and loss at least?
Back to the and that keep that off the books then?
Yeah. Hands off the books. All right, go to the balance sheet. See some adjustments between accounts receivable and cash, and that's really just a bunch of pilots moving through again. So our total liabilities and equity line, that negative 14% doesn't look good, but all of that kind of adjusts out in the end. Part of that is the hand-in-hand billing as well, coming off the books. So it doesn't look great on paper at this point, but by the time we reconcile everything, it's, I think you'll see in March, April, there was an upswing, and this just kind of brings it back down to where we were last year, more or less. Any questions on this? Thanks. Finance committee also had a chance to review the expenditures for the month, and if you want to look through those, you can, but satisfied with them. I think we could breeze through that and look for a motion to approve financials.
Any comments from,
I'll make a motion.
make a motion, all right, so we have a motion from Tom to approve the financials, second, Kenzie, any discussion? All in favor?
And just a note on financials, the audit is in process. We've provided them everything they've asked for, maybe shy of one or two kind of just informational items. So we'll be looking to have an audit report out in August.
All right, thank you. Moving on, items for approval, finance committee met this month.
Basically, we had a couple of items that we wanted to bring here. The application from Light Energy for a solar project. We seem to have it in order in good shape, so that's an improvement from them.
We wanna-
Yeah, I can jump in with an overview of the application we received. So we had an application from New York USLE Copenhagen CR 194 LLC. This is a US Light Energy project over on Route 194 in Copenhagen. Technically Pinckney is the town. And I think Mark, Karen, I don't know if you guys want to jump in and give a summary before I botch it.
You would never
Sure.
do that, Diane. Actually, I think Jen Trigg is going to speak for us on the project. And then Mark will be available to answer any additional questions that Jen isn't able to address for you.
Okay.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Genevieve Trigg from Barclay Damon. We serve as tax and land use counsel to US Light Energy. And this project entity, New York USLE Copenhagen CR 194 LLC, intends to construct an approximate 2.7 megawatt AC solar facility located at 1850 County Route 194 in the town of Pinckney, as Cheyenne mentioned. The project area will consist of approximately 20 acres, which is mainly undeveloped land and will be leased from the current landowner under a long-term lease. The solar facility will include ground-mounted single-access photovoltaic panels, racking, foundation, inverters, and transformers, as well as necessary electrical interconnections and improvements required to transfer and deliver the electric generation off-site. The project received site plan approval and a special use permit from the town of Pinckney Planning Board last spring, and the project entity would like to commence and anticipates commencing construction fall 2022. So we seek this morning from the IDA a payment in lieu of taxes as well as sales tax exemption for approximately $264,000. And if you have any questions, we're happy to entertain those.
Thank you. Yeah, so the finance committee had a chance to look at this, and as per our norm, and I don't know, Jen and Karen, we haven't worked with you on a solar project yet, so this may be new news to you, but Mark, we've worked on some in the past. We updated our UTEP in February to adjust how we were looking at soil usage and kind of protecting farmland a bit with our pilot payment number. So If you want to click that other tab, Jenna, the soil calc tab on the bottom. Yep, on the Excel. The tab. So our base pilot number is $7,500 per megawatt, with a reduction if the land isn't actively farmed, and a reduction if the land is not deemed prime or prime if drained. So as part of our process, we send the map of the array over to our local county soil and water department, and they do a soil analysis on where the array lays and give us, the percentages of prime and prime if drained land. And the other percentages fall into land of statewide importance or not categorized. So in this case, we were about almost 73% prime or prime if drained. So there wasn't a huge reduction to that $7,500 number. So the pilot number for this project would be $6,888 per megawatt. And really what we're looking to do at this meeting, we can continue to tweak the cost benefit as we kind of move through the process and look at, I know Karen, you dug up a bunch of numbers for me, things our pilot application needs to improve on asking in terms of construction jobs and what they're paying and lease payments to landowners. So we can kind of more accurately gauge the benefits to the community, make sure we're capturing all of those as we evaluate these projects. So we'll continue to update and tweak the cost benefit as we move forward. But I think location wise, this is at least a project that's not like right on a main highway and super visible to everyone. And our next step would be to hold a public hearing regarding the benefits the IDA can provide, the pilot incentive and the sales tax exemption.
And we need a roll call vote for this, right?
Yes. We can.
So the public hearing resolution was attached, and again, this is just the next step in the process to continue to move this forward. So if there's any questions, we'll take those at this time. Otherwise, we'll take a motion to approve the public hearing resolution.
And Chair, obviously, Joe Scott here, if there's any questions from the board members on the terms of the resolution, I'm available to answer them. But as you indicated, and as Shai has indicated, this is the beginning start of the process for the IDA consideration of the project under the IDA statute. We need to hold a public hearing, and this resolution authorizes staff and council to move forward in doing so.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Any questions? Do I have a motion? Herb, second. Tom? Any discussion? All right, roll call. Tom?
Yes.
Mackenzie?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes.
Joe? Yes. Goggin, excused. I don't know how we handle Ron.
Ron, excused.
Ron's
Thanks, Megan.
excused. All right, so with that, the motion carries for the public hearing. Thank you. We also have a seeker resolution. Brittany, Cheyenne, Joe, any?
Shai, did you want me to start on that, or did you want to introduce it?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Yep. So, Chair, as you indicated, we have a resolution before us on seeker issues. What this resolution does is basically bootstrap behind action already taken by the town of Pinckney Planning Board. That planning board has made the environmental determinations with respect to the project and cleared seeker, if you will, with respect to the project. We're concurring in that determination, and what that does is satisfy our obligations under the Seeker Act with respect to a seeker review with respect to the project. This is frankly a good position for the IDA to be in terms of having the local entity, the local permitting entity, review and approve and consider the seeker impacts. And it also obviously accomplishes our goal of complying with the Seeker Act. And with that, I'll open it up for any comments or questions.
Any questions? Motion for approval? Tom, second. Herb? Any discussion? Okay, roll call. Tom?
Yes.
Mackenzie?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Darlene?
Yes.
Joe? Yes. Goggin? Excused. Ron? Excused. Motion carries. Thank you.
Can I just ask one question on the pilot rate, that 6,888? So I know under your old policy, there was a discount if the farmland was not actively farmed prior to a project being sited there. So
Right.
does that carry through with this also? And was that incorporated in the rate determination of the rate for this project?
It does, and that's something that, again, our pilot application needs to be a little bit better about asking directly.
Yeah.
But it's within the past 3 years has that land been farmed.
Okay, so my understanding is that it was not within the past 3 years. Mark, is that your understanding as well?
It is. We can certainly try and get some clarification from the landowner and provide some sort of documentation to that effect, because I can't speak to that 100%, but I believe that to be true. Yes.
Yeah, if you can get a statement to that effect, then we can give that discount.
That
Okay.
would be great. Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Appreciate that clarification.
All right, we'll keep this project moving forward. Glad to see it going through. Do we have any other questions here before we?
Not from us, I don't think. So thank you all so much for your time this morning, and we appreciate the audience and the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
We'll look at that public hearing with notice and whatnot. Hopefully the end of July, we can get the location determined and all of that.
Okay,
Sounds great.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone.
Great to be working with you
Have a
guys
good
again.
day.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
Take
have a
care.
great day.
Bye.
Bye. Joe, you're more than welcome to stay, or you don't have to. It's up to you.
Sorry, I'm slow on the mute button here. Are there any legal issues that you have? Because I'm happy to sit in and listen and comment if there's any comments or any questions that you have as you move forward in the meeting.
I think we're good.
Okay, well then I'll sign off. You all have a nice day, and good working with you on this project. I'll coordinate with Nadine to make sure that that we get going on the public hearing notice. And Shai, on your question regarding the fees and the auditor's question, I've got a response for that, and you'll have that this morning. Okay.
Great. Thank you so
Very good.
much.
Thank
Joe.
you. Have a great.
Great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right.
Is that?
We don't want to do the secret resolution, we do the final resolution.
I think it's a public hearing. Anything else on the solar project?
I don't think so. That cost benefit will adjust a bit because they've continued to provide more information as I kind of ask more questions. And we are working on tweaking the pilot application, so it asks all of the questions.
Now we have what's the update on the
Yes, so at our finance committee meeting a couple weeks ago, we did also discuss utilizing the county funds that have been allocated to the IDA to pay for the costs of creating the new 501c3 plus any other attorney fees that might go with it. We did have a conversation with Kevin McCardle about if the IDA could pay for the creation of the 501c3, or would that be a conflict of interest? And he had stated that if we just make note that we're utilizing the county funds, and in that contract between the county and the IDA, those funds are to be used for economic development purposes, and the creation of this organization is for economic development purposes within the county. So the committee did recommend that the IDA pay for the creation of the 501c3 plus any other legal fees that go along with that. And I think to create the 501c3, it's like approximately like $700 to $900. And then again, some legal fees that would go along with that, like Kevin's time to actually process that.
Any questions on that? Do we have a motion to utilize our county funds for the development of the 501c3?
Make a motion.
For second. Mackenzie, any discussion?
And we will, this afternoon, we're having a committee meeting to present on the full concept of everything we've been working on over the past few months as staff, and some, one-off meetings here and there just to discuss parts of that organization. And then we're going to get feedback from them, tweak anything, and then do that 3-board presentation to the 3 boards plus county stakeholders and any other community stakeholders we feel need to be involved. So we're getting there.
Yes, I have a question. As
Yeah.
To who are we going to use as legal advice for this? Kevin going to do it, or Barclay doing it, or?
Kevin, we'll use Kevin, at least for the creation of the 501c3. And then we'll have to think about the creation of the bylaws at some point. So we could consider Kevin and or Ian Gilbert, who's the LCDC attorney. But for now, it's really just utilizing Kevin to create the 501c3.
All right, if there's no other discussion, all in favor? All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, launch of the CDBG.
Lots of acronyms. All right, so we had our IDA loan and grant committee meet this past month to review the final applications for the Launch LC grant program, which is the CDBG micro enterprise grant program that we rebranded and revamped the process. And just to break it down, back in February, we had 21 short form applications. So 21 projects that came through and said, we're interested in this grant, we qualify. We sent 21 people through the entrepreneurship training course through the Small Business Development Center, which is a requirement per New York State to receive these grant funds. We had 12 final applications. And then we had a few of those applications that really were still lacking some of the requirements. Like, for example, we had an application that stated that they would create a full-time job to qualify, but it's just unrealistic of them to create a full-time job for 4 cabins on their private property. So we met with the committee and we narrowed the awards down to 9 projects. And the committee did decide to award 2 $30,000 projects instead of just one. So originally the awards were one $30,000 award, 5 $20,000, and 5 $10,000. And again, the committee felt that there were 2 projects that should receive the $30,000. And then 1, 2, 3, 5 $20,000 to $10,000 awards. So in this chart is really just a description of all of the projects and what they are. There's some really great projects, really creative. The two top winners of the $30,000 grant award, the Tack Shack. It's a really cool project. It's a mobile equine supply store. So he's gonna purchase a trailer and a bunch of equine supplies and literally go out to Otter Creek and he's able to support that industry as well as travel to various shows around the state. In Sterling Valley, maple is just a really solid maple business looking to expand production. He's been getting his maple syrup in grocery stores like all around the Rochester area, which is really cool. And I think it's great that we have projects all the way from Natural Bridge in Lewis County to the north, all the way down to Osceola and in between. So that's really what we were looking for is diversity in projects, so creativity, as well as location, making sure they weren't all, just located in Loudville. Any questions on these projects? So really what we need to do today is, this is the recommendation of the grant committee, and we just need to do a final approval of the IDA board to award these grants, since we are the entity that's administering this grant fund on behalf of Lewis County.
And again, this was all vetted through the committee process.
Yep.
So
Yep.
these are the recommendations of the committee. Any questions? We have a motion to approve the grant awards. Andrew, second. Darlene, with the second. Any discussion?
My comment that the thing with the horse thing, Derry has the same sort of a thing and it's pretty successful. So I think that I'm always stocking up on supplies when I go to a show somewhere.
Oh, cool. Yep.
And so I think this will probably work.
Yeah, and he spent a lot of time working with the Small Business Development Center and working with Jenna through the DBA Lewis County program. And he even went out on the trail system to survey, people who are riding horses, what supplies would you need and would this benefit you? So he's put a ton of work into this application. I'm just really excited for him and his business. Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Motion carries, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, executive director's report.
All right. Really, I guess the only thing I wanted to focus on from this past month was the conference. And for those of you who were there, just looking for your feedback and your thoughts and suggestions for the future. We did put out a survey to get some feedback from attendees. Do we have that? Yeah, okay. Just looking at, where did they hear about the event, which is really important to understand where people are seeing our events through our marketing. You can keep going down to. We received a number of just good comments, good feedback. As we mentioned with the LeaderCast speakers that we kind of merged with this event, we had scheduled LeaderCast for 2020, but had to cancel that event. And this was the very last month that we could utilize the LeaderCast speakers. And if we didn't, we essentially would lose the money that was invested into that. And so we were like, okay, let's just combine them with this event and then we won't use LeaderCast in the future ever again. But everyone really liked LeaderCast. Everyone really liked those speakers. It is a significant investment to get those speakers, but everyone really liked them and they had great messages. So any thoughts or comments from you guys that were there?
It was really well organized. We had employees go and everyone had a great experience. I guess personally, the only thing that I would have liked to spend more on is like the benefits or ways people are retaining employees right now.
Yep. Yep.
We're always looking for more employees, so.
DCA should create the unique benefit and then we'll bring you on a panel.
Yeah, we need a case study somewhere.
I tried.
We did try finding an employer, even regionally, who was doing something really unique and creative, but
I think everyone's just afraid to take that leap.
yeah. It was hard to find someone who's doing something more than a 401k,
Right.
you know, it's not really creative.
We do an incentive program, so I score things on points with the guys, you know, not just doing your normal job, but going above and beyond. And then at the end of the quarter, it's basically like a bonus, and it goes off 10% of their net pay if they reach a certain point. And then the end of the season, if the team, there's also team points. So if the team reaches a certain amount of points, it's 25, then I'll take them for a fishing trip or send them to a concert. Or, you know, and I'm even thinking of, you know, something for team building, you know, like rope courses or something like that, something fun that would help with that. But
That's great.
it's got a great response with my employees so far. So
That's great.
Yeah, we've talked, I feel like 100 times about an employer being able to offer a menu of benefits. So like, you'll have entry level kids, adults, kids coming in. And then you have people who have kids, and then you have people who are closer to retirement. So the entry level might want help paying back student loans or getting college courses on the side. And the people with kids might want help with daycare. And people closer to retirement want to probably sock more into retirement. So like having the flexibility that you can pick 1 or 2 benefits out of 4 or 5 would be really cool. I wonder if we could somehow get an employer with our help to do that so that we create a case study for other
Herb,
employers.
be our guinea pig.
We should talk to them.
Or BCA.
And say that. It's just a case study.
Okay,
And only if you have a Wisconsin office.
right. You have to move to those guys.
If you move to Wisconsin, we can do this.
That's one of the things that we've seen a lot in the corporate side recently is our company just went through what's called an EVP, like an employee value proposition, where you talk about what really it's what creates that benefits package and the culture of the company. So most of what came out of that comes down to work-life balance. So when I'm seeing a huge trend with people I work with people that have gone to other companies, is unlimited PTO, which is insane to me.
Wow.
But it's real in corporate. It's just the way companies are going because it's meant to be with discretion.
Yeah.
And it's drawing people away from and to, you know, it's not a small business solution by any means,
Right.
but
Right. Well, and that in itself is like creating that culture. And so people are going to take advantage of
Right.
unlimited PTO.
that's all part of the
Yeah.
whole process.
Yeah. It's like putting trust in the employees.
But it's the self-management, right? Because you're still getting assigned certain work to do or whatever.
Right.
The
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you have to
The
get it done.
accountability to
Right.
get it done.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some amount of, well, we see it like manufacturers are in completely different situations than
Right.
office
Yeah.
employees, but like having a measurable amount of workload so that yeah, this is your workload, and as long as you get it done, as much or as little as you want to, versus some of the more immeasurable kind of, like, if you can't quantify what they need to get done, it's hard to do that.
Another thing you mentioned is the 4-day work week.
Yep.
And it's not just 4 10-hour days, it's a 32-hour work week, which is crazy, but people are more productive in those
Yep.
32 hours than they are in 40 hours.
Yep. Don't get shy. She has a 4-day work week and she's
Just as
super productive. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that we've talked about with the DBA program is that we need to bring on that HR partner to like, who's gonna think creatively and talk about creative benefits with our businesses. Like what's gonna work for a small business like Arbor Care versus a craft, you know?
But I mean, it was everything was well organized and seemed, there's always behind the scenes stuff that seemed to go off without a hitch. So it was a great event. I think, Brittany and I have talked a little bit about going forward about what our role might be with the new structure of facilitating stuff like this versus, more, what part of our role is kind of the continuing ed and stuff versus, and what do we offer, especially with bringing the chamber members in and
Right.
having membership of like, what are the value adds of, is something like this, or is it more of our actionable program stuff? And so I think it'll be an ongoing discussion. It was a great event and I'm sure we'll do more of some sort, but I think it'll be an ongoing discussion of what the best format is and how much time it really makes sense as a staff to commit to events. Because obviously we put a lot of work into it, so.
Yeah, it took a lot of time, a lot of planning, a lot of logistics.
So just something to be thinking about from your business, the businesses you work with and stuff as we move forward is how we balance that out, what sort of time commitment makes sense.
It's very well organized, and I heard lots of comments about how organized it was. One that I had, and I wasn't in there for all of it, so this may have happened in the early, because I was out at the table, but I'm wondering if there's more opportunity to do more round robin or something where Christy could lead.
Yep.
Where it really, the cards and the lunch was nice, like to have that. I had great conversation during that, but something that's a component that is more leader led,
right?
But still involves everybody. I think balancing that into it would be.
We had a couple of comments. They want the round tables and yeah. I think going back to the event discussion, we have a meeting next week to talk about our events for the rest of the year and into next year. We're really looking at less is more, like less events, but making them really impactful. Like not just having a business after hours every month just to say that we're having it and to have 10 people show up, like just making sure that the events that we do plan, they have a lasting impact on the people that are attending. So. Any other questions on my report, things we've been working on?
All right, correspondence.
We officially received Ron's resignation letter from the county. So I feel the board should accept his resignation, and then we haven't heard anything from the county. Have you heard anything on a replacement? So still unsure who will be his replacement. It has to be a legislator. I told Larry, no rush. I'd rather have someone who wants to be on the board than someone who's just forced to be on the board. So we haven't heard anything yet from the county, but we should probably accept his resignation.
Yeah, I mean, officially it is a county appointment, so, but we, you know, we can formally acknowledge it, that in receipt of the letter from the county, so. On actual vote on that. I don't think we need it because, I mean, we can do it, but, I mean, he's appointed by the county legislators.
Right.
So this letter is informing us that since he's resigned as a legislator, he's also removing him from our.
Yeah, I think since we've received this letter from the county, I think we're good.
All right, so new business.
You want to talk about Project C?
Sure. So we became aware of this project through Jerry Hanlon. National Grid was offering technical assistance grants for small business technical assistance, which fits in perfectly with our DBA County program. So we applied for $15,000 in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and we were awarded that $15,000 last 2 weeks ago to continue our offering technical assistance through DBA Lewis County, and then 5,000 of that will be allocated to the Chamber of Commerce to help with promotion of the program. Through a variety of different channels, their newsletter, website, events, and we're also working with them on DBA benefits as well. So offering 50% off membership, for instance, for DBA Lewis County participants, which will in turn help grow the membership. So it's really a win-win-win for everybody in that department. Really a simple grant application. Since it's a new program, I think they're figuring it out, and that's a good thing for us. So simple reporting measures, we just kind of need to keep them in the loop on what technical assistance that we're providing, and that's through our normal channels of our consultants right now. Anything to add?
How much we've spent so far?
Oh, yes. So in an update on DBA Lewis County, Cheyenne ran some numbers for us. We allocated $30,000 last August to the program. To year to date, we've spent just over 11,000 in technical assistance. Right now, we're getting situated with our CRM, so we're doing a little backtracking to figure out exactly how many entrepreneurs that's benefited, and what the average dollar amount is for that. So I'll have some more information for you by next meeting for that. And that will really help to drive, we're looking for additional consultants to join the program, so we can see where the money is being spent, and drive some interest in consultants that way. We know that marketing and bookkeeping are probably our highest dollar amounts that we're spending currently. And if you know anybody in those two fields, send them our way, because we can use them in this program for sure. We're putting out a press release that we've received these funds and a call for consultants through an RFP. Hopefully in the next week. We're just waiting on a quote from National Grid.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. If there's no other questions on that, no other new business, we did have some ongoing contract negotiations regarding land that we would look to call an executive session to continue those discussions. So if that's of interest to the board, we need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Herb, second by Tom. All in favor? All right, motion carries. We'll now go into executive session. All right, we're out of executive session. No actions are being taken. The staff is going to continue negotiations with the landowner. And with that, if there's no other business, we look for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Darlene, second.
Also.
Herb, all in favor? Motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thank you.